You've tuned into Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes. Your access to success strategies and more to help you move onward and upward with your life. Listen in each week as she interviews others who have really taken their essence to the next level and truly unpause their life. Now here's your host, Dr. Callie Estes.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Callie Estes, and I am founder of the Addictions Academy, the Addictions Coach, and Rehab Rescue. Welcome to Unpause Your Life. This is a great podcast where we showcase people who have done something extraordinary with their life. I welcome you, and I hope you enjoy all of our guests.
On my way, found a reason to wake up another day.
Before we get started, let's hear this short message from one of my supporters.
All the things that you won't do.
Did you know 81% of Americans would like to become a published author? Chances are you might be one of them. What's stopping you? Writing and publishing a book takes a lot of work and is expensive, right? Well, not anymore. For your next book project, or even your first, team up with Hassle-Free Books. They make it so easy to become an author. They remove all of the fuss and struggle and make it smooth and simple. And it's far more affordable than you could ever imagine. Go to hasslefreebooks.com and use promo code UNPAUSE to receive a 10% discount off of any book project. Get started right away and become a published author in as little as 45 days. For your free 1-hour book formula guide, which will show you just how painless it can be to become an author, head to hasslefreebooks.com today.
All right. Thanks again for joining me. Let's get started with today's show.
Took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of flying.
You are listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes of the Addictions Coach and the Addictions Academy. I am here today with Dr. Teralyn, to be specific, Dr. Teralyn Sell, and she's an addiction and mental health expert located in Wisconsin. I don't know why. I'll ask later.
I ask myself that all the time.
Oh my God. She's worked with A&E, ABC TV, Your Tango, as well as other various blogs, and is a faculty at the Addictions Academy. It's a pretty cool school. Dr. Teralyn holds a PhD in psychology, specializing in addictions, a master's degree in counseling psych, and multiple brain health and nutrition certifications. She will tell you Pop-Tarts are not a breakfast food. She's got a passion for neurotransmitter repair to improve mental health and addiction outcomes using holistic alternatives such as supplements, amino acids, and essential oils. She partners with her husband, Steve, who did not join our podcast today, a professional interventionist and recovery coach, and together they own a locally renowned holistic center in Wisconsin. Welcome, Dr. Teralyn.
Woohoo! Hello. I'm so glad to be here.
So can I call you Dr. Tara or Dr. Terry, or do I have to say Dr. Teralyn?
How about Dr. Terry? Or what would you like to call me, Callie?
There are lots of
That's
things
what I
I'd
really-
like to call you, none appropriate for the podcast.
You know what? Just call me Terry. How about that?
Okay, Terry. Welcome to our show, Dr. Terry. So I understand your background is in psychology, but you also do outside the box stuff. Would that be correct?
That would be really correct, especially in Wisconsin. I'm not sure that if the West or East Coast thinks I'm so outside of the box, but I definitely know the Midwest does.
Okay. So tell me what you do. When you talk about amino acids and you talk about essential oils and all this stuff, I know for some people that sounds Greek, and for the rest of us it sounds normal, but what does that mean? What do those things mean, and how do they work?
We pretty much know, most people know about neurotransmitters like serotonin or dopamine, your reward systems. A lot of people who came into my office were getting sicker and sicker using psychiatric medications. And I was feeling helpless to help them. So I went ahead and studied a little bit more on the brain and decided to look into some more natural ways to help them feel better, whether they wanted to not be on medication or just support them in their medication. So neurotransmitters start with food typically. A lot of proteins help build neurotransmitters, and nutrients are the cofactors to neurotransmitters. So, Callie, so many people now, the standard American diet, the SAD diet, right? There's little to no nutrients involved in our diets. So I started looking at how we can supplement, and amino acids was just one of the ways that looked good to study. And guess what? It works. We have the outcomes that we have when we use pinpointed amino acids like tryptophan or tyrosine. The outcomes that we have are phenomenal, which I think because you use some of those as well with your clients.
I know my clients know tryptophan because right around Thanksgiving, they have an overdose of tryptophan and they pass out on the sofa and take a nap.
That's right. That's right. Well, because tryptophan improves serotonin, which then allows for melatonin, and melatonin helps you sleep. So that's why that happens. And, obviously the overabundance of food coma, that also works on Thanksgiving too.
So let me ask you this. Are there certain amino acids to replenish certain drug use? For example, if you have somebody who's been doing heroin for a long period of time, is there a specific amino acid you recommend for them? Or is it more of like a compound?
It's more like a compound. And it really depends. But, things like heroin really deplete all your neurotransmitters. I do certain things. I can do lab tests. I can do checklists, all these things to figure out exactly which neurotransmitter we have to pinpoint. And it's very interesting to me because the results are relatively similar between that of a heroin addict and that of an American teenager, which is so interesting because when you think about our diet again, what teenagers are not eating and what heroin addicts are not eating and what the heroin is doing for them causes that depletion to be significant in just about, I'm talking about serotonin, dopamine, GABA, glutamate, norepinephrine, epinephrine, your adrenaline system. So most of those are pretty well totally tanked out in both of those populations. So it would take a good combination to get them back and eating as well.
So when you first get a client, what's the first thing you do? Do you draw blood or do you sit down and have talk therapy? How do you start your sessions with your clients?
I start them by asking them what they want and what their issues are and their biggest goals to get out of working with me. And then we go from there. So I do really determine what lab tests would be in their best interest because not all labs are created equal,
Mm-hmm.
and not all their goals are going to be the same. So typically when someone comes in, if they have an addiction problem, for sure, we start with a neurotransmitter and an adrenal lab, just so we know what we're starting with, because I want to be sure that I'm just not loading people up with a bunch of different supplements and amino acids just for the sake of having them. Because as you know, compliance is always an issue. So I want to make sure that what I'm giving them is going to get them the biggest benefit and not just walk out the door with a bunch of stuff that they never open on their countertops again,
Right. How often do your clients tell you that they get improved results quickly?
All the time. I would say if they are working it, meaning if they are actually taking the supplements as needed, as specified for them, they're going to see an improvement in, I would say, 4 weeks. They're going to feel exponentially better. I usually tell them, use this regimen once we get it all straightened out and they're on a good path. Use the regimen for about 6 months before we change anything. And at that 6 month mark, you know what you can drop off and what needs to remain. So you're not looking at a 5-10 year commitment on supplements. You're looking at 6 months to maybe a year, which, is interesting because even people on heroin, it takes the brain a long time to repair from that type of an addiction or any addiction for that matter. So if we can give them pinpointed amino acids and supplements and things like that to get that brain kind of pumped up right? And functioning better, faster. Wouldn't that be an easier outcome for them? That would reduce the amount of relapses for sure.
Right. And that makes sense because right now we're predominantly talk therapy and
Right.
everything is more, let's talk about it. But if something has destroyed your body like that, it's going to take a while for it to repair. So it makes sense.
Well, and I tell people all the time, you can't talk your way out of neurotransmitter depletion. You can't talk your way out of a B vitamin deficiency. When you're sitting on my couch and you're shaking, what am I supposed to do with that? Your body is physically shaking, and I'm supposed to just, how does that make you feel? I can friggin' tell how it makes you feel. I can tell how your body is feeling. How about we work on making you feel different than that without just thinking it's all in your head and talking your way out of it? That was the frustrating part for me as a therapist. That idea that I can it's just a thinking error. It's how you think. Well, our head is connected to our body at all times. And, therapists, I think we need to work on the entire body, not just thinking.
Right. So the amino acid therapy is good for everybody. I would think if you have somebody who has poor diet or,
For sure.
Has mental health issues, which we can also trace back to poor diet, that just working with them and getting the blood work and figuring out what's missing would make them feel better. So it's not just addiction. I would think it's everybody, right?
It is. Oh, yeah. Pretty much everyone can do it. Even I have tested kids that are 3 years old that are displaying, ADHD type symptoms or lots of anger and rage. And it often just turns out to be either a food sensitivity or a neurotransmitter imbalance, which you think, why does a 3-year-old have a neurotransmitter imbalance? It's because of food and environment.
Wow. So what do you do with a 3-year-old?
Same thing. Same thing. It's interesting because we can even check things like genetic code, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at genetic coding, your genetic code never changes. You're born with it, you die with it. It's the same. But we can turn on or off those alleles, right? Turn them on through, if it's a bad gene SNP, you can turn it on through bad diet, right? So now it's expressing. So if you have a genetic code for, let's say, anxiety, which would be like a COMT, if that is expressing, you might see things like someone who has ADHD or anxiety, the worrier, excessive worry, leg bouncers, that type of thing. But with proper lifestyle and diet and supplementation, you can work on turning that code off, which is pretty cool when you combine that with some of the neurotransmitter repair as well. So we can work with your code.
Wow. Now, let me ask you, so that's amino acids. So what about these essential oils that I'm seeing all over the internet and everybody's selling them? And I know they go in a diffuser or they can put them on your body. I don't really know a whole lot about them. How do they work in conjunction with mental health and addiction?
Essential oils are pretty cool. And I started with essential oils actually before I started with amino acids. Probably about 6 years ago, I started studying aromatherapy and things like that as one of the first things that I wanted to try for brain health repair. And then I kind of chased squirrels all the time. So then I got really interested in neurotransmitters and amino acids. And so I kind of set the essential oils aside. And recently I picked them back up again. But it's fascinating to me because a lot of my clients are almost more interested in essential oils than they are in amino acids. And I think people are just kind of getting tired of the whole supplement thing.
Yeah.
Take this, take this, take this. So they would rather diffuse something in the air or rub something on their body. But essential oils are pretty cool because each of them, I don't know, think about it like this. So all pharmaceuticals are either made with one of two things, snake venom or plants.
What?
And
Wait a minute.
yeah. Yep. Either snake venom or plants.
That's
and so
lovely. I'd like my dose of Cobra today.
Yes,
Thank
right.
you.
That's what I said. I would rather have essential oils in my office than a tank full of snakes, right?
Oh my God.
Right. So that actually leads a lot of credence to essential oils. If you think big pharmacy likes plants, we might as well use an essential oil in our offices, right? So there's a lot of things you can do with them. I mean, and the basic levels, you either have like the stimulating oils or the calming oils, kind of like amino acids, right? So you've got your stimulating ones and your more calming ones. But the stimulating oils help to improve serotonin levels. They can help improve GABA levels. Now, this is not just me saying this. There's actually a ton of research out there on this stuff. It's fascinating. And the calming oils can help, again, with GABA, which is your anxiety neurotransmitters. So these oils actually impact neurotransmitters as well as amino acids do. Within about 23 seconds, an essential oil can hit your brain, which is probably faster than an amino acid, right? And amino acid, when you take it, it has to go through your whole gut. And if you've got bad guts because of alcohol or just poor diet or whatever, it's going to take longer to absorb, and you'll also absorb less. But if you put an essential oil right on your pulse point, like on your carotid artery, 23 seconds and it's in your brain.
Wow.
Fascinating shit, right?
It's almost like I'm thinking of it like an addict. I'm like, I could just sniff the essential oil and in 20 seconds it's in my brain.
I mean, you can sniff glue, right?
I used to sniff glue.
But if you think about it like that, I mean, we send people home with, I will make inhalers for them, and I'll send them home with an inhaler. If you have a craving, inhale this instead. Put this on your tongue, and people do it. But it's like anything else. I view it as one piece of the pie, right? So a lot of times people just want to focus on, I want to use this one thing. But usually it's a culmination of things. So it's probably not going to help you the way you think it is if you're still using, or if you're still engaging in activities that don't serve you well. So none of these things are like the magic bullet, which we all want, right? You kind of have to put it together with lifestyle and things like that. But we can definitely help you use some of these to like enhance your sleep, which will be an amazing benefit for you, right? Or just dial down your nerves or increase your energy. So I like to think of like oils like this, and this isn't always, but like if there's an oil that comes from a tree, so you think about those usually are pretty earthy and grounding, because I think of like their big roots are dug deep into the earth, right? So that's kind of how you can select, whereas a citrus is like hanging fruit. So it's uplifting. Those are general ways that I can look at essential oils, or the layperson can look at them as to how they might help you. And there's also a lot of oils that have similar properties to like CBD oil.
Right.
So if people don't want to use CBD oil for whatever reason, there's definitely oils in those categories that impact your cannabinoid receptors too.
I was going to ask you about that because I'm a huge proponent of CBD, like CBD for everything.
Yeah. Yep. So the one oil that I really love is Copaiba oil, and Copaiba oil has very similar properties to CBD oil, impacting those receptor sites. So I've had great success with my own knee pain using Copaiba oil. It was within 2 weeks of using it, I was running up and down stairs again, which was incredible. And it started off with my friend who had some anxiety, and she was traveling to work, and I showed her how to use Copaiba oil, and she used it for 2 days and her anxiety was gone. So the benefits are far reaching. And I know that you like CBD oil, but I think in the industry itself, it's hard to kind of flesh out what CBD oil is good quality and what is not. So if people are looking for an alternative to that because they're worried about quality or purity, some essential oils are also really good in that category.
Right. That's actually a good way to put it, because even in different industries, trying to get purity or quality of something is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is.
I'm thankful enough that I can work with somebody that I know the quality is really good.
Right. Not everybody has that. Yeah.
What would you tell our listeners to start with? If you say, I have anxiety, or my child has anxiety, or I'm coming off of this drug or that drug or mental health, where do they start? Because this is a lot of information.
We always start with a 3-day food journal. And that way we can kind of tell what you're eating, without amounts and things like that, what and when you're eating. So if people want to start with something, what I would say is the easiest thing to do is to eat protein every 2 to 3 hours. A lot of this stuff also has to do with what's called reactive hypoglycemia, which is the rise and fall of your blood sugar. So I don't know how many times I've had someone come in the office that's got severe anxiety, and the first question I ask is, when was the last time you ate?
Yeah.
And, or even, someone with an addiction, they're not eating. Even if you have an addiction and you're still active in it, try to eat protein every 2 to 3 hours. Now, if you're not going to eat it, then go ahead and make a protein shake or get a pre-made shake and drink it.
Right.
You have to start getting that protein in your body. Same thing with kids. A lot of those little kids who have ADHD are going to school on either empty stomachs or with carbs or crackers and bread and pasta, things that don't have any real nutritional value for them. So I have a funny story to share. My son, who, this was last year, so he was a freshman in high school, and he decided that he was going to get up every morning very early and go to school and work out like at 6 a.m., which is totally fine. We were encouraging that, but he wanted to do that on an empty stomach. And we were not okay with that, but he did it anyway because, natural consequences rule the world, right? So he got into, I want to say 3 fights that first week. And so we sat him down and I said, listen, you can either not go in the morning or you can start taking care of yourself and grab a protein shake on your way out the door. So I taught him how to make a protein shake and he took that to school and immediately he had no fighting. And I know it was because of his blood sugar. He was running on empty. And I think to myself, how many other kids do that? They do that a lot. And how many kids live on pastas and food that has no nutritional value. So, but it's the same thing with adults. I mean, the first thing we want to do is take care of our kids, but we don't take care of ourselves. So the very first thing I would tell people is eat protein every 2 to 3 hours. And if that still doesn't work, then you might want to eliminate some of those inflammatory foods, particularly gluten.
No, you can't take my pizza.
That's what everybody says, by the way. It's really not that hard. It's not that hard. And it'll make you feel exponentially better.
No bread, no pizza, no ice cream.
No fun.
Terry.
I know. I'm no fun. Who said ice cream, though? I didn't say no ice cream.
Oh, when they come to me, it's no sugar, no gluten.
Oh, yeah, no sugar. There you go. Yep. So that would be the first thing I would tell people to do.
Okay. So where can they find you? If they want more information on essential oils or amino acids, how do they reach you to ask questions or hire you to help with whatever issues going on?
Sure. I can be found at Dr. Teralyn, Teralyn.com, drteralyn.com.
Awesome. So we'll put that link up for everybody. And they can also reach you on Facebook. I know you're Facebook living and such.
Oh, yeah.
What is
Dr. Teralyn on Facebook. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same thing.
Perfect.
I try to keep it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on and talking to our listeners to see if you could help them. Everyone, Dr. Teralyn Sell, and you can find her at www.drteralyn.com, which we'll put up for you. If you have any questions or want to hire her for amino acids or coaching or therapy or anything, I think I'm going to hire her for amino acids. And
everybody could use it.
I know. Well, thank you again. And you're listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Head on over to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and leave a comment or review of what you think. Or contact us at 1-800-706-0318. If you want to be on our show, feel free to email or call. And if you have a topic, feel free to email or call as well.
Thanks for listening to Unpause Your Life. For show notes and more, head on over to unpauseyourlife.com.
Big shout out to recoveryinnovators.com for help producing this show. Thank you, guys.
I took a walk down the long road where they said that I shouldn't go. On my way found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape in love with my pain. I may be weak, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. I took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of flying. Now I'm so far from